Hey bitches, welcome to my channel. My name is Willow, and it's no surprise to anybody that Squid Game, the Korean drama, is very popular in the world right now. It's such a good show, and I was honestly really hesitant to watch Squid Game because everybody in the world was watching Squid Game, it felt like, and one of my toxic traits is that I don't like being like everybody else, which is weird because we live in a society where you have to be like everybody else, at least in a certain aspect, to be liked. But I also don't like the majority of people, so I was like, do I really want to like what everybody else is obsessed with right now? I don't know, it's one of my toxic traits, but Squid Game genuinely looked like a good show, and I was like, I need to get over myself, have a slice of humble pie, and just watch the fucking show, because it really doesn't matter and it's really not that deep. So I watched Squid Game, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I don't care that the rest of the world likes it too, because it's a good show and it deserves to be appreciated. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Anyways, I really like Squid Game, and I love how it's sort of taking these childhood games and turning them into something deadly. It's just really cool watching something from childhood become something awful. And I also follow this one TikToker, and she started a series where she was portraying Kat from the show Victorious, and she was portraying Kat if Kat were on Squid Game, because let's be honest, Kat Valentine would literally win Squid Game. She would win the whole entire game on accident, and I don't have any doubt in my mind about that. And I really loved the concept of all of the Victorious characters being a part of Squid Game and how I think they would do if they had to partake in those challenges. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about if the Victorious characters were in Squid Game, when they would get eliminated, why they would get eliminated, and who the ultimate winner would be, which, spoiler alert, Kat literally wins the whole game. And literally several things on the show prove this. First of all, Kat in general is just very childlike and innocent, so I think she would have the upper hand in understanding the childhood games, because she would probably still play them and be very familiar with them and would excel at them. She's also super sweet, but she's also literally a total badass at the same time. Kat is the one who got a whole prison gang to be besties with her.
I joined a prison gang!
What do you mean?
Well, this group of really mean, tough prison ladies said I'm cute and funny, so they invited me to join their prison gang.
Jade was the one who was pushed to the ground by one of them. Kat was the one who recruited a whole gang of them and ultimately got them out of there. If she could rally up a group of prisoners, I'm sure she could rally up some allies in Squid Game and find some friends. And she's also strong. When they went to the Gorilla Club, she literally could do any of the activities and win and not get hurt, and it was literally just a fun game to her. She would somehow just get through it all and not even realize that everyone around her was dropping like flies. So the characters from Victorious that I'm bringing into Squid Game are Tori, Trina, Jade, Beck, Andre, Robbie, and Sinjin. And this isn't literally just the characters of Victorious. We're going with the assumption that they would also be playing in a large group of about 500 people, so it's not literally just them competing against each other, but against a whole group of people. With that being said, let's dive into this. Round 1 is complicated because at this point in the game, the group knows that they're going to be eliminated, but they don't know that elimination is equal to death until they get to playing. So the group isn't going to be as careful at this point in the game as they would be for the future games because they're not fully aware of the consequences. There's one character in particular I think would definitely get eliminated in the first round, and that's Robbie. Obviously, Robbie isn't aware that he's going to die, so he's not super careful, but throughout the whole show, Robbie is he attracts misfortune very often, and he always has a tendency to be unlucky and sometimes cause problems for the whole group. He's the one who got them thrown into the Urbanian prison in the first place because he killed the Chancellor's octopus. He mistakenly ordered like $600 of caviar when they went to a fancy restaurant, and I definitely think it's very character-like for Robbie to make a small mistake or something and end up getting eliminated in the first round. The rest of the characters, I don't think they would necessarily do anything special to survive. I think they would just be able to survive, especially once they do realize that it is a death game. I think Jade would do well because I don't think she would have a problem like hiding behind somebody else, using them as little body shields so she doesn't get eliminated. And she also, I think, would be smart enough to sort of like slink to the sides where, you know, she's not going to be targeted by other people to be killed. And I don't think the other characters would necessarily do bad, but I don't think they would have any special survival skills. They would just survive the first round, and Kat would definitely excel. She would just skip on through and literally win. So Robbie down, and literally half of the players around them are down. And we have the honeycomb challenge. I think Kat would just somehow win with sheer luck, and she would literally end up choosing the hardest shape too, like she would pick out an umbrella or something. I think Jade would sort of definitely pull something more like Sangwoo and, you know, persuade the group to choose different shapes, especially try and influence Tori to choose one of the harder shapes. I think Jade would definitely smuggle some scissors with her for the game and maybe use the scissors to her advantage somehow in the process. I think Kat especially would do good at this one, especially since she's so childlike. Sometimes when there's stuff going on around them, Jade or Tori gives her a coloring book and has her color, and she always colors inside the lines and focuses on being really precise. So I feel like she could easily take the little needle and be really precise and cut out her shape perfectly fine. I think this is the round where Sinjin would meet his match, simply because he would try and like eat the honeycomb, or he would lick it too much when they realized that that was an option and end up breaking it. He would do something clumsy and stupid like that because it's Sinjin. What else do you expect from Sinjin? I think at this point Sinjin would still be more oblivious to whatever's going on around him and wouldn't necessarily fully grasp that this is a death game, and he would definitely make a foolish mistake like trying to eat it or something and get eliminated really quickly on. Moving along to the tug of war game. This one gets a little bit different because they're told to divide themselves into teams of 10, and they have an inkling that it's something where they need like strong or fast players, but they're not 100% certain that it's tug of war. And I don't think it's out of the cards that most of the group would try and stick together, except for Trina. There's no fucking way they would let Trina play on their team because they don't like Trina, and they probably don't see her as a strong enough ally or someone who could help them in a team. So I think Trina would be on a different team. I think that Jade would be aggressive enough to be able to demand people be a part of her team. She'd be able to stop them and yell at them and say, hey, join my team. And they would join her team. And I think Kat would just have a lot of allies and friends, like she had the prison gang, so they would want to join Kat's team. She'd just be like, hey girls, you want to join my team? And they would. However, I was really contemplating, I'm like, someone has to get eliminated, okay? I can't just keep the whole group around forever. I was thinking Trina wouldn't be a part of their team because she's Trina. They wouldn't want her to be a part of her team. But then I was contemplating Beck. I don't think Beck would be a part of their team. I think he would sort of distance himself because I think the games in general would cause a strain on him and Jade's relationship. Jade has a tendency to get jealous when Beck flirts with other girls, and Beck has a tendency to get annoyed with Jade's attitude towards things. Jade would make some sort of sarcastic comment about someone else's death, and Beck would get really irritated and not like that, and Jade would make some sort of comment about him flirting with the other girls, given that in this scenario there would be girls around their age, and Jade would insist that Beck join a team with his little girlfriends or something, and he would, the girls would just sort of gravitate towards Beck and join his team, and Beck would just sort of sit there like, I can't do anything about it, Jade. All these girls are just drawn to me. Because that's what he does every time it happens. And Jade would sort of be like, fine, and form her own team with Tori, Andre, Kat, and whoever else they recruit. With that being said, Beck is getting eliminated this round. I'm sorry. I'm actually not sorry. We have to kill somebody off, and it's gonna be Beck. I think it's very probable that the girls would be drawn to him, given that this was an American drama and not the iconic Korean drama. And I don't think that it's not necessarily that Beck wouldn't try. I just think the girls would be very distracted by him, whoever's on his team. And I don't think he'd be able to turn them down wanting to be on his team, and he would sort of just get eliminated that way. However, Jade, Kat, Andre, and Tori are fine. And Trina, I do think, would survive just by sheer luck. That's it. She would somehow like flirt her way onto someone's team and just end up winning just by getting lucky. And her team doesn't even have to be super, super strong as long as it is able to outwit the other team. Hypothetically, let's say she and her team is going against Beck and all the girls flirting on him. If they're all distracted, then automatically this team has the upper hand and can send Beck's team going down. So now we're left to Trina, Kat, Jade, Andre, and Tori. And we're going to probably the saddest game, because people are told to get into teams of 2 and they think that they're going to be allies and work together when in fact they're killing each other. And it's really hard. There was like a married couple who gets together. I guess when they said till death do us part, they really meant it. And I was really contemplating who the different groups would partner up with. I was contemplating putting Jade and Kat as a duo, but I don't know if that would happen. Jade might still sort of view Kat as like a weaker link, or they do tend to view her as more childish, so I'm not sure they would necessarily be like, I'm gonna choose her to be my teammate. Kat could literally have any partner she wanted. Anyone would want to partner up with Kat, and she'd be fine. We know that Kat's surviving this round, and she's not even trying to be deceptive or manipulative. She just wins the marble game. So I thought that a really probable pairing for this game would be Jade and Andre. Jade and Andre actually have a really good friendship going on, and Jade is obviously the least annoyed by Andre as the rest of the other characters. She just has a really good friendship with Andre, and I think that she would see him as a valuable person to team up with. Now, do I think Jade would intentionally kill Andre? No. I actually think Jade would end up getting herself killed. I think at this moment it would be a pivotal moment where Jade finally has enough. Half of her friends are dead, and now she finds out that she has to kill another one essentially, or die herself. So I think once she found out it was a death game, she would go up to one of the guards and try and protest, and that in itself would get her eliminated. By default, Andre would collect her marbles and win. Andre and Kat are moving on to the next round. What about Tori? I was torn about Tori and if she would move on from this round or not, and then I decided she wouldn't. I think whoever she partnered up with would be able to easily manipulate her into feeling guilty if she won, so she would allow herself to lose and let the other person go on. I know a lot of people wouldn't see Tori like that, because a lot of people just think Tori is selfish and stupid and mean. And I agree that Tori has her selfish moments, but I think especially as the show progressed, she had her redeeming moments, and she genuinely was a nice friend at times. And I think she would be easy to manipulate because I think in a way she sort of prides herself on being nice. When she finds Pawnee crying in the bathroom, she immediately is like, oh, come eat with me and my friends, and she tries to befriend Pawnee right away because she feels bad for Pawnee, and she easily buys into Pawnee's sad story. The second Pawnee complains about her back hurting, Tori's like, I'll carry your backpack. She easily plays into that and feels guilty, and so I think someone would be able to have a conversation with Tori, tell her a sad story, and Tori would feel bad and sort of be like, oh, you can have my marbles. and would be eliminated that round. Oh, and Trina in the marble game, I think, unlike her sister Tori, she would actually be one to be manipulative and manipulate someone into losing. It's obviously in her personality. She has a tendency to fight to get what she wants. When Robbie gives her a bad review for her place, she gets angry, and in some ways she's almost more aggressive than Jade, or at least as aggressive as Jade. And I definitely think she would sort of con her way into winning the marble game. So that leaves Trina, Andre, and Kat. Glass stepping stones. This is one of the most interesting games and probably one of my favorite games in the show, simply because it's one of the hardest to beat if you have no knowledge on glass. And this one is literally just based on sheer luck. You're lucky if you choose one of the last positions, not if you choose one of the first, because it's literally just hoping that enough people can get through and show you which one to jump on so you don't die. Kat is getting through this game. I have no doubt in my mind. I don't think she would go first, but I feel like she'd definitely be towards the beginning. I do think Trina is losing this round because she would definitely insist on being first or one of the first and would end up dying. Even if she didn't personally jump, I feel like it wouldn't be out of character for her to have like a tantrum and not want to move, and in turn someone would get mad and push her instead. So she would end up dying one way or another on the Glass Stepping Stones game because she would insist that she's first. And so she'd be one of the first to die. I think Andre would just simply get unlucky here and he wouldn't choose the right stone. He wouldn't do anything bad to anybody. He would play his turn. He just wouldn't get lucky. And to be honest, the last game, Squid Game, is the most confusing to me, and I literally don't understand it. I've watched the scene several times trying to understand Squid Game, and I don't. I know that Kat is winning it somehow, some way. She's winning it because it's a children's game and she's just going to dominate. And then at the end of it all, she's going to like look around. She's going to be like, where are my friends? And they're all dead. But that is how I think the characters would do in Squid Game. By the way, if you're curious how I would do in Squid Game, my friends and I were playing Truth or Dare and I asked them this. I'm like, how do you think we would do in the Squid Game? Who out of all of us do you think would be most likely to win? Like, when do you guys think we'd get eliminated? And my friend Noah said to me, let's be honest, Will, you're gonna have a breakdown and you're not gonna survive. And I said, I agree. I'm not surviving Squid Game. But I think I would get eliminated early on just purely by being unlucky. But that is going to be all for this video. Peace out.